Welcome back to another episode of the Relationship School podcast. Hi.
Hi.
What are we talking about today?
We're answering some questions
Great.
from
you all.
From everybody out there.
Yeah. These come from sometimes Facebook and Instagram mostly. So thanks for your questions as always on social media. We love that. I love that.
I do too.
Yeah. And remember, this podcast is all about helping you get empowered relationally, in case you're wondering.
Yes.
Yeah. Family, friends, work, self. We think relationship is a pretty cool path to become who we are and to also learn about ourselves, grow, evolve, and create the life we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for being a listener and subscriber. Okay, Ellen, you want to share this question?
Okay. Basically, this person's asking for any advice on addressing triggers in a relationship. Specifically, when do I express feeling triggered versus manage it on my own?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you say to that?
I kind of want you to go
Oh,
first.
you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, and we've answered something like this on an episode before. I know we have, because this is an important question. I think we get asked a fair amount. And it's both and, right? I'm a fan of sometimes Ellen's not going to be there and I'm mad at her or upset or hurt. And I need to just like be with the pain and be with my emotions here. And I might reach out to a friend and process it that way, or a therapist or a coach. And then I can, from a more resource place, when she's available, I can have a conversation with her about my feelings. Other times I might want to process and talk about what I'm triggered about right there and then and not be with it at all. And I just want to like, hey, look, I'm mad. That hurt. That sucked. And I want to handle it directly with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to know if there's something going on between us that's triggering you. I want to know about it. I'm not expecting you to manage that by yourself, especially if we're together.
Yeah.
And chances are, if something's activating you or triggering you, then I'm probably going to have a reaction to that anyway, to you being triggered. So
yeah, you probably are.
It's just better. It just goes better if we talk about it, and it helps me know you better. And I don't know, it just goes better. But there are times when I like your both and, which is, yeah, we have to regulate ourselves to some extent to be able to even have that conversation on some level and speak to our partner in a way that we can be understood. And so both are true, and they sometimes that's happening at the same time, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Sometimes I read a question like this and I kind of wonder if there's another question here, which is, or more information, which is like, hey, my partner thinks I'm too emotional and that I should handle some of this stuff by myself, and it's not really their problem. Sometimes that's where this is coming from.
Yeah.
And we're just here to remind you that, you're in a relationship and it's a team sport. And like Ellen just said, when I trigger her, she triggers me, we want to know. Right. And and even if I'm not the one triggering you, but you're triggered by something in life, I want you to tell me about that.
It's way better if I talk about it than if I just act kind of triggered.
Yeah. Act triggered and withdrawn. That doesn't go well for me.
No.
So even if the trigger has nothing to do with the other person in the relationship, like we're in a relationship because we want to feel supported and seen and known by another person, and we want to give that to someone else.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing about that? Is that sometimes there's a partner in the relationship who just is way more comfortable with bringing up concerns about the relationship, or concerns or complaints about how they're feeling in the relationship, or how they are being impacted by their partner. There's sometimes one person who's just like really comfortable with kind of bringing up their complaints. And complaint might be a strong word, and it may be inaccurate, but I think that's how it starts to feel
to the other
partner who isn't as comfortable with that, or isn't as attuned to their triggers, let's say, or knows when they're upset in the same way. And so it can start to feel like, potentially to this person's partner, like that they're just bringing a lot of complaints a lot of the time. And so that person who just is more comfortable with and knows we got to talk about when things don't feel good here, we got to talk about it. Yes. but there is a how. There is
skillful means.
There's skillful means, and granted, we can't always do it perfectly or make it perfect for this other person. But there's a consideration of how this might land, or where your partner might be coming from, to not just so that they don't feel like they're being made wrong or they're always getting it wrong for you, or something like that can start to happen. And then there's also just the like, I hope that if you're bringing up concerns about the relationship, that you're also bringing up and making sure you're mentioning when things are going really well, and like things you really like, things that you feel really good about, and like, I love when you do this, and like, this feels so good when you do this, and I love how you're looking at me right now, or whatever it is, that like there's that the positive is being brought in as well.
Balance
Balancing.
People.
That's all I want to say.
Great, thank you. Next question.
Sure.
I'm a stay-at-home mom, and when my husband comes home, he needs downtime for like an hour, but I'm exhausted and need a break when he gets home. We both feel like we do more than the other and work harder than each other. How do we fix this? Oh, man.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people in that situation, especially with young kids. And if you have a primary breadwinner and a primary caregiver.
Or two breadwinners.
Right?
Two people that are working full time.
Two people that come home really tired and are like, no, you do dinner, or you do the kids, or.
Yeah, I already did.
Yeah. Tit for tat, like quid pro quo. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not a great dynamic to be.
Yeah. Well, I feel for you, because this is not fun. I want to acknowledge.
To see how this happens.
It's totally easy. This is very normal, sadly.
Yeah.
But it's totally fixable and changeable. So I want to address the husband needing downtime for an hour. I think a lot of us need transition time. And when we come home from work, we need a little segue into the family or into the home, into the partnership. And if we have a person coming toward us that just wants to connect, and we want isolation time, we want me time, obviously that's not going to work very well. So we got to watch ourselves to override what I really need to kind of, quote, be a good partner. And I do think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about what that transition time could look like. And an hour sounds a little long to me.
Yeah.
I would challenge this guy.
Yeah.
Do you really need an hour? I think you could get it done in an hour if you truly honored yourself and you just did what you wanted to do, which is like go for a run, get in the hot tub, lift some weights, turn on the TV, like check the fuck out, smoke a joint. Like, I don't know, whatever your thing is, can you do that thing for 30 minutes? Although getting high would take longer than 30 minutes. So I take that back.
Not be great for parenting.
Yeah. I take that back on the high part. But you know what I mean? Take care of yourself so that you can show up for your partner and family. I think that's important to negotiate as a partnership.
Yeah, how can we transition? And sometimes you can have like a moment of like, okay, I come home and like we, the parents, connect. Like we hug, we check in. How are you?
Couple minutes.
Just 1 minute.
30 seconds.
1 minute of like both of you getting a read on each other. I'm exhausted. Me too. Okay. Let's do our 15 to 30 minute transition.
Yeah, I'll see you in a half an hour.
Or if the couple agrees to that, because it might be that might not work for the stay-at-home parent. Stay-at-home parent might be like, dude, I've been hanging on every minute. And that person might need relief for 15 minutes to reset so that they can jump back into parenting. And then the person who just came home from work can then go do their 15, 30-minute thing. Like, you could play with that.
We don't know, by the way, that this person has kids. Doesn't say.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, stay-at-home mom. Yeah, we do. Oh my God.
Totally.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
and this is common. I mean, and it's like, dude, I'd challenge the guy, like, bro, you signed up for kids. You signed up for a family. Like, show up, right? So go do your self-care and then show up strong.
Yeah, and I think that
like give your wife a break.
I know. I mean,
it's kind of straightforward.
I'm feeling for the person who's been regulating little children's nervous systems all day. That is an enormous.
It's a big lift.
Output.
Completely.
Enormous output. And if that stay-at-home mom hasn't gotten any co-regulation for herself, by the end of the day, she's way under-resourced, probably on more days than not, and needs a minute. So
deserves a minute.
And work could be challenging, but I'm guessing unless he's like a ER surgeon or something,
or a school teacher of a bunch of toddlers your kid's age,
unless you're co-regulating people with really dysregulated nervous systems all day, like I think the person who's doing the nervous system work needs support first. But
yeah, and that could be argued.
Bias. That's my bias.
Yeah, that could be argued, and I think it's valid.
Argued. That person might be able to go 15 more minutes or 30 more minutes knowing that relief and support is coming. So like all you have to do is just talk about it, and talk about it like, I want to help you be a great partner and parent and feel good about this. I want that too. Like, how do we help? We have to help each other.
Yeah.
And let's try some things. Let's try like it sounds like you each need a little time to reset at that hour. And I think 15 to 30 minutes was probably realistic. And what are you going to do? Are you going to go scroll on your phone? Don't do that. Like, go actually do something that will be a state change. Like,
well, are you saying don't go scroll on your phone as the thing?
As like the thing you do? I just don't think that. I mean, okay, fine. Maybe you need to do that.
I just want to say some people like checking out actually helps some people check in.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I just think that the more you can like attend to deeper needs, like physical, like maybe that mom hasn't eaten well. I mean, she just wants to sit down and eat. Maybe she wants to lay down on the floor. Maybe she wants to take a bath. Same for the guy who's been at work. Maybe he wants to shower, change his clothes. Like, do something that resets you.
That allows you to show up for the other person. That allows you to show up
more resourced.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's a big day with kids and work. That's just a big day.
Yeah, it is. And can you just validate the hell out of each other's experience? Have you ever thought of going on a relationship journey, kind of like a hero's journey, to become who you are? Have you noticed how intimate relationships push us to bring our truest selves out in the open? Well, if you want to go on a journey, our signature course, Relationship Mastery, formerly known as Deeper, is enrolling, and I want you to come check it out, okay? Here is what one of our past BIPOC scholarship recipients, Andrea, said about her experience.
The program to me, it's just like, it's real. You know, it's sometimes you see programs like, oh, we're going to give you this and you're just going to fix it. No, this is like real life, which I can totally relate to. I mean, even the instructors are just super transparent, you know, and that's like, they don't act like they're perfect. It's like, hey, we all learning here, and that I can appreciate. It's well worth it. I actually had talked to someone about it today. She's like, what would you change about it? I was like, man, nothing really. It's such a different experience because it's real and it's actionable things that you can actually do. It's like they give you the tools, and it's like, it's so well worth it. I was like, yo, everybody needs to take this course. I feel like every human being needs this course. Like, this is what should have been in the school. Yes, math is great, science is great, but this right here, this is what you need as a human being to survive and interact and relate to people.
All right. Andrea had an amazing experience. 9 months later, she was a changed human being, eventually got married, wrote us this incredible testimonial, and her favorite quote was, "This shit is deep." And we had a laugh about that throughout the entire training. So, Andrea, thanks again. If you want to come join us, go to relationshipschool.com/relationship mastery or mastery. So this gets into the second part of the question, which is kind of your keeping score of who works harder.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that. I think my friend Nate wrote a good book on that called The 80-80 Marriage, where they get into kind of fairness and keeping score and what a kind of not a good idea that is.
Yeah, they really dig into
so their theory is like 80-20, and I did a podcast with Nate if you want to.
80-80.
80-80, sorry. If you want to check that podcast out, it's called What Over 100 Couples Said About Marriage or something.
Mm-hmm. And
go listen to that.
Yes.
And it's good. But, and we, by the way, just reminds me, we need to do our one on fairness.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so let's flag that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a great idea to score keep. When couples are getting into I work harder than you, we're clearly missing each other.
Yes.
And we're clearly not appreciating what the other person does. And if I truly got what you did, I would just validate how hard you work. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be comparing it to how hard I work. this suggests that there's a resentment here and that might not have anything to do with this issue, but both people are feeling underappreciated here. And so it's like, get at the resentment so that you can really validate how hard the other person's working and not worry about whether it's more or less than you. Who cares?
Right. And really acknowledge the way the partner's showing up to support the marriage or the family or whatever they're doing in their way to help and support it. You know?
Yeah, like you could say, God, I worked so hard today. I had such a hard day, and I want to know about that. And then I could say the same thing. I had a really hard day. And you can be like, tell me about it.
Yeah.
And we can actually
Right.
both feel really nourished and met and seen in our how fucking hard we work.
Right.
And there's no scorekeeping going
Right.
on.
Yeah. Truth is, as parents working or home with kids, dealing with life, you're both working hard.
You are.
Yeah.
Period. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Is that good, Elle, on that one?
I think so.
Cool. Just want to see what we're good. Okay, last question. We'll take one more here. You want to read this one?
How can my partner and I disagree on so many things and still have a happy relationship? It's so hard to live with someone who has so many different opinions. I feel like I need him to agree to feel safe and okay. Yeah.
You want to start?
I could.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking of a few couples that come to mind that really struggle with that their partner has different views on just about everything. And they don't have a lot of shared viewpoints on all kinds of issues, from how the relationship should be to like what's going on in the world and everything in between. And that it's a constant source of argument, that they're both trying to argue their perspective all the time and get the other person to like agree with them, almost, is what I'm hearing here. So
Yeah.
what I think part of what's going on here is that the couple is really struggling to recognize that the person they're with is really different than them, and they're perceiving that as a threat.
Yeah.
Versus
More downsides than upsides.
versus, oh, we have this diversity in our relationship that could potentially be a real strength throughout the long haul of life, especially that we have these different perspectives. We come from maybe different cultures, different family cultures, different life experiences, different genders. You know, you're coming into life and into relationship from these different perspectives. And so it takes a little practice for this couple to learn how to see differently on things, but to be interested and curious in how or why their partner has that perspective. Instead, these couples get kind of stuck in like, well, you don't understand me and I don't feel understood by you, and I don't feel like you get me. And meanwhile, they're not really doing anything to understand the other person, or like, tell me why you think that way, or like, that's really, wow, I would never have seen it like that. Like, what are you looking at that has you come to that conclusion? Like, they've lost all curiosity. And now any difference is perceived as a threat. And as this person's saying, it's like, I feel like if they don't agree, I don't feel safe or okay. And that now it's starting to go into like real a security issue, because neither of you probably is really making the effort to see and understand and acknowledge the other person and how they might be different and learn from each other. I mean, you could actually be learning, but
Completely.
they get stuck here. What would you say
Yeah,
about that?
I like that. I like all that. Well, her last, I think it's a woman, but I don't know. Could be a man, because you say he, right? Oh no, there's no he.
We don't know.
We don't know the gender. Anyway, I feel like I need him to feel safe and okay.
Need him to agree.
To agree. So I think there's a lot in that sentence. I don't think that's what you really need to feel safe and okay, is for him to agree. I think what you really need is validation and empathy and understanding for how you see the world and what you're into and what you're not into, what your values are, and for him to accept you as you are, even though it's different than how he is. I think that's what you really need. It's less about, like, why would you want someone to agree with you if they don't agree with you, right? But I can disagree with you and still respect you and really get you and your values. And I can appreciate where you come from and what you believe in and still love you, you know? And if depending, you're not telling us what these differences are.
Yeah.
But I get it that the bigger the gap in values and the bigger the difference, say like religion or vaccines or something, if there's a lot of charge behind it, it is going to be hard to come to a middle ground there and feel safe and secure in that relationship, especially if you're both polarized in your positions. That's just hard. So I just want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
It's hard.
And, you know, you have to decide, are these differences so great? Because Ellen's basically saying, look, your differences can be a strength and it's an opportunity to be a diverse team. But if they're so great that you two don't have the skills or interest or capacity to bridge the gap, then why are you together? You know?
Yeah, it can start to feel like there's some maybe deal breakers in there if your differences are around, you know, if you're polarized around like lifestyle or, you know, a lot of things that might matter to how you live with someone or have a family with someone or share finances with someone or all that.
But let's also, at the same time, just back to my point is it's good. Be aware of the fantasy that sameness is somehow better in a relationship. I don't think that's right either. I think often couples fall in love when they're infatuated and they seem very similar, and then they get more polarized over time is often how it seems to work. And that's really normal and okay. So just be careful of any fantasies if you're going to leave this relationship, for example, that you're going to find someone more similar and that's somehow better. Now, again, if the deal breaker values are so polarized, then it probably is better.
Right. You could find someone more aligned in certain ways, and you might even be realizing that you need a certain level of alignment or shared
you might be learning that.
Shared values, not necessarily shared views on things, but shared values so that you could commit long-term to someone if that's what you're wanting. You might be getting clear about that there are some things that you want to feel like you see it the same way or something. Like I think for us, like growth and development is such an important value to both of us, and I don't think we could be with someone who wasn't interested in that.
No way.
So like that could be a deal breaker.
Would be for
you or me. And, you know, I'm not sure that's what this person's talking about because it's saying we just disagree on things. And it's really normal. Like, I think you gotta...
And
you know.
These are hard fights, hard disagreements sometimes. Like when some of our hardest conversations and we have a kind of a fundamental disagreement about how we see something.
Yeah.
You know, those are our trickier conflicts. So yes, very valid. And I liked what we both said there. I think there's a lot in there for you, person, to chew on.
Yes.
Thanks for these great questions.
We love them.
Yeah.
They're all really good.
Yeah. And again, this is mostly happening on Facebook, most likely, and Instagram at Jayson Gaddis or at Ellen Bader, Boeder. You could kind of follow us both there. And thanks for subscribing to the podcast. Again, your action step might be to submit a question, people. You could also, if you want to submit a formal question to the podcast, you can just write one. Keep it short, please. We don't need 2 pages. Just a couple of sentences with a tiny bit of context. info@relationshipschool.com.
Yeah.
Make sure we check it out.
Yeah, that's great. We love doing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
If your spouse or partner has threatened to leave you, or you've already been broken up with, or you're thinking about breaking up with your significant other, or maybe even contemplating divorce, I want you to do a few things first. Go to relationshipschool.com/rescue. All right. That way you can rescue this thing if it's salvageable. All right. I wrote a very elaborate PDF ebook, and I recorded some videos for you to save your relationship. And I think it's a really good thing to, at the very least, go through this course. Now, if you just got broken up with, if the relationship just ended, you'll also want to do this if you want to salvage or save the relationship. relationshipschool.com/rescue. As you know, I've dedicated my life to helping people with their relationships, right? I want to solve this problem so that all of you can work through your differences, and have fulfilling, amazing, badass partnerships and relationships, family, coworkers, friends, whoever. And I have trained a ton of relationship coaches, almost 100 certified relationship coaches, to help you specifically work through your relationship challenges. So I want to invite you to a special deal we're offering to the podcast listener, where you can get 50% off your first month of coaching with one of our amazing relationship coaches. Okay, if you're tired of therapy, it feels like that's going around in a circle, or you want to actually set goals and accomplish your relationship goals, hire a relationship coach. Okay, go to relationshipschool.com/get coaching now, and then use the coupon code FIRST50 to get the 50% deal off your first month of relationship coaching. Super psyched to have our amazing coaches serve you and help you get to the next level. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Share one of these videos with a friend. We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships, and you are one of them, so thank you.